substantial benefits of shared forest tenure. In particular, the strengthening of and contribution to sustainable management of forest resources, including timber and the land itself and its inhabitants. These resources belong to all Queenslanders. It is therefore incumbent on those privileged to have tenure over state-owned forests to take full responsibility for the care and continued management of these precious resources and the impact of any development on the surrounding communities. The Forest Wind Farm Development Bill 2020, as we have heard, is to enable shared tenure for a major clean energy infrastructure project in the Talara, Tuan and Nearty State Forests, located in the Gympie and Fraser Coast local government areas. The project, known as Forest Wind, proposes the development and construction of a large wind farm comprising up to 226 wind turbines. Under the current legislative framework, the Forestry Act 1959 prohibits the development of inconsistent and incompatible uses, including the granting of tenure for projects of this kind. This bill will establish new legislative framework to allow the Forest Wind to be shared with the current plantation licensee, HQ Plantations Proprietary Limited. The licence with HQ Plantations commenced in 2010 and will continue for a period of 99 years. We note that, at the release of the committee report, negotiations between State, Forest Wind Holdings and HQ Plantations about the project agreements, including proposed development agreements, had not yet concluded. The estimated private capital investment for this project will be up to $2 billion. As a starting point, the proponent advised that approximately 20 people in our region are already working on the project. Once construction gets going, this could be up to 440 full-time jobs, peaking at 600 jobs during construction and up to 50 full-time operational roles for a 1,200 megawatt project. Mr Deputy Speaker, it is anticipated that wind energy from this project would represent 12% of Queensland's installed generation capacity, which will significantly contribute to the government's target to generate 50% renewable energy by 2030 and align with policies to transition Queensland to a low-carbon energy sector and a clear renewable energy target. There is broad support, as we have heard, due to the potential renewable energy generation and the economic benefits to the region, including, as the member for Cook outlined, the Wide Bay Burnett Environmental Council, who in its submission supported renewable energy projects in the region. Mr Deputy Speaker, however, questions raised need to be considered and resolved in relation to any forthcoming development application for this area. These include community impact and consultation, the proximity and aesthetics of turbines, potential impacts to migratory birds and fire management strategies. During the submission and hearings process, the committee heard from a range of stakeholders, the community and the proponent about these. While the negotiations with the proponent have been ongoing for 3 years, should the bill be passed, extensive community consultation would need to continue during the development application phase, life of the development and operation of the project on these. These are outside the scope of this bill. And, however, it was reassuring to hear that the proponent did have a community consultation group already formed that they can work on together. The second part of this bill is the amendments to the Planning Act 2016 to ensure the correct administration of the Springfield Structure Plan, the SSP. Greater Springfield is a master plan community located on 2,860 hectares of former forestry land in the Ipswich local government area. Established in the early 1990s, it is now home to 43,000 residents, supports over 20,000 jobs and has a student population of 10,011 schools. Not a bad effort. The Springfield Structure Plan was approved in 1997 and is part of the Ipswich planning scheme and exists to guide the nature and extent of development in the area. The bill proposes several amendments to the Planning Act to ensure that SSP processes are preserved and operate as intended. For example, applications to make or amend precinct plans, make area development plans or to amend the town centre concept plan under the SSP to be made by third parties will be allowed. The bill also updates dispute resolution procedures, and we did hear within our committee, yes, there has obviously been a few disputes there. On this, the department advised that the current procedures provide that any person may give notice to Ipswich City Council disputing a decision about development approved under the SSP. This bill limits the dispute resolution to parties who have a particular interest in the subject land. In closing, I thank my fellow committee members and submitters, the attendees at the public briefing and public hearing, the departments and, of course, our Secretariat in the examination of this bill. With Forest Wind, there is a journey ahead, and I am satisfied that the processes in place by the levels of government involved will capture and address the concerns voiced that were outside the jurisdiction of this bill and our committee. Mr Deputy Speaker, as this inquiry has demonstrated, the destination to renewables, achieving Queensland's renewable energy target and reducing our reliance on coal is not without significant challenges. However, it is a road that we travel together, understanding that regardless of how we power our homes and communities, there are impacts, and our role is to mitigate as best we can. Thank you.
Speaker.